But it's my great pleasure to introduce a really special person, Miss Jewelline Wiggins. Mrs. Wiggins has lived in Madison since 1968, and she's married to the very delightful Mr. Willie Wiggins, who's sitting over there next to her. They've been married for 44 years. And they have 3 children. They also have been foster parents for more children than I can count, so they really give of themselves. She's a member of the Mount Zion Church. She heads their cooking ministry. She cooks for all of Mount Zion's events and has done so for 30 years, including events that we've done at Mount Zion. She's a fabulous cook. 7 years ago, when our center was just starting to recruit African Americans, she was one of our very first volunteers. And she serves on our African American Advisory Board. She's going to tell you why she did it, but she actually joined our study because of her involvement with her mother, who had Alzheimer's disease. And I'm going to let Mrs. Wiggins tell her own story. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to take you on a journey. And it's a true journey. It's mine and my husband's and my mother's. And I joined the study just because of that. If you look around in this room, in the community that I come from, you see very few of us in here tonight. To me, that's kind of sad, because we get the disease just like anybody else. If we don't have knowledge of what's going on, it's a journey that you don't want to ride on. You could pack a suitcase, you can put some of everything in it, but you will never have what you need in that suitcase for this ride. My mother lived with my husband and I for 15 years. And when we brought her to live with us, my mother was a mother of 16 kids, 8 girls and 8 boys. And she was, we always said as kids, that's Hannah. You either did what she told you to do, or you were in trouble. So when she started not making the decisions, not doing her checkbook, we thought something's wrong. I had never heard of dementia. I had no tools. I had no clothing in my suitcase for this. I took her to a clinic. They looked at her, had her draw a circle on a piece of paper and said, make a clock. And I thought, what kind of doctor is this? He got you drawing a circle and putting a clock. And my brother went with me, and the doctor said, she has dementia. And we went home and we pondered. We said, now, how can he tell us this is what this is? So I got another diagnosis from UW. And when I went to Dr. Sanchez's memory clinic, they did a test, and they came back and they said, yeah, Jewelline, this is what it is. I have to say that what I put in my suitcase from there was something I could use. It was resourced, and that's one thing I stress. If you don't know it, haven't heard it, start thinking and reading about it. Because the more you're prepared for it, the better you will survive your journey. The clinic and all the people at the staff there, they gave us all kind of information. We did pretty well with it, and her memory started declining. And when it started going down, I was like, what is going on? It was hard for me to look at my mother and know that she didn't know me or remember who I was. That's heartbreaking. So I feel that when we have a family member with this disease, we need to be ready to pack your suitcase and know where you're going and know what you need in that suitcase. Because for me, it was a real ride. So we started getting all the information we could. We prepared for the worst. And I hate to say this because I'm sure some people in here have family members, but it will get worse. So don't be afraid of it, though. Embrace it. Like I say, I can't say it enough. Learn as much as you can. Apply it. And most of all, Even when your family members don't recognize you, don't know it's you, we still have to love. Love will really get you through it, because there is nothing else but knowledge and love, because she was still my mother. She was still my mother. And she lived to be 94 years old. And my husband and I kept her until the last year of her life. And it was heartbreaking for me to put her in a nursing home. But she got ill one night, and the doctor came to the house, and he said to me, "You're playing a dangerous game," because we live in a 2-story house. He said, if she decided to get up and walk down and fall down the stairs, you will never forgive yourself. So I say to you who have family members, take care of yourself, take care of your family member, but most of all, I think my saving lifeline was reaching out to the clinic, reaching out to the resources in the community, because there is a lot, and there was a lot that I had no clue, and there was help. I refused to get help because coming from an African American community, we don't believe in your mind is gone bad. We think that you're crazy. And that's a stigma that's in our community, and we won't reach out. And you can see from the few of us here, we haven't put that out there to say, okay, share with me, help me, help me learn what I can do if this happens to me. And for the people who have wives, kids, mothers, fathers, do the best you can, and always know that they're still your parents, they're still your kids. I have a brother with the dementia in Arkansas. And I was down there in July, and I had a good conversation with him. And the thing about this disease, you miss it. My mother could play that she was okay. The other siblings would come by occasionally, and they would say, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" She said, "Oh, girl, I got it. It's going on." And they'd say, "Ain't nothing wrong with Mama. I don't know why you keep saying that." To this day, out of the 10 of us who are still surviving, most of them refuse that Mom had dementia. I had a conversation last week, and they said, "Well, you know, why would you always tell the public?" I had Dr. Sanchez's staff came to her 81st birthday, I believe it was, and she brought literature. And a couple of my siblings said, "Why is she here?" She's here to educate us or help educate us. Well, I don't know what we need to be educated about. There's nothing wrong with Mama. It was something wrong with my mother. And I love my mother to the day she died. And I did everything for her medically that they shared with me that I could do or should do. And I don't regret not one time that I was up at the night to change her or do whatever I had to do. I don't regret it, because she did that for 16 of us. And I figured one of us, if not all of us, owed her a good life at the end. So with that, I'll say, don't be afraid to get involved with the study. Now, the lady before me said that the test is not bad, the memory test, the test they give you with the string, the stick, and the words to remember. I had my test about a week ago. And I get really anxious, and nothing else gets me as nervous and hyped as that thing. And I went in, and they said, "Jewelline, count backwards from 100. And I looked at the guy, and I said, "I am not doing that." And then I said to him, "If I don't do it, does that mean I have dementia?" And he said, "No, I can't tell you that, but and that thing, when they give you, and I would count on my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 15 words, 10 words. And at the end, I'd always say, "Do I have dementia?" So I think we all have a little bit of a fright, is why I shared that when I go to take the test, will they tell me? But let me tell you, they won't tell you anything. So I had a young guy, and he was new, and the first time I'd had him, and I said, did I get them all? Did I get them all? And he'd say, ma'am, I can't tell you. So I went home and I told my husband, I said, that young guy was no help to me. I don't know whether I have dementia or not, because he never told me. So again, I press on you, get as much education as you can, love your whoever it is in your family, and reach out, because if I hadn't gotten the knowledge or hadn't got hooked up with the folks that know what I needed to do, I think I really would have lost it, because it is no easy job. And that, like I say, the reason we go through it and can stand it is because whoever the person is, we love them. Thank you for listening.